Thank you guys for tuning in to the Bootz Sports Show. I'm your host, Uncle Bootz, here today. And unfortunately, I'm going to be delivering news that most of the sports world is already aware of. It's going to be real sensitive for Dallas Cowboy fans. At this time, it was our starting defensive tackle, Josh Brent, for the Dallas Cowboys. According to various sources, including ESPN, was the driver in an automobile accident that killed his teammate and friend, Jerry Brown, who was a linebacker on the Dallas Cowboys practice squad. Sounds like there was alcohol involved, and which hence the reason that that Josh Brent was booked on intoxication manslaughter charges. First and foremost, it's obviously a real tragedy, and it's very sad for all the families that are involved, obviously, and the team. There will obviously be some sadness that the team will carry even into the game Sunday at 1 o'clock against the Cincinnati Bengals. But we have a game tomorrow, and I know there was no segue or transition into that statement, but you know what? The Cincinnati Bengals aren't going to care about any of the problems that the Cowboys have inflicted on themselves. Be it coaching, be it leadership, be it dumb, poor decisions. The Cincinnati Bengals don't care about that. And, of course, it's a life. And in this football world, it seems like that these lives they're all connected together. When you watch the players hold hands and, talk after the game, and you wonder why your player, after being sacked 3 times by Justin Tuck, can go out there and shake hands with him after the game and smile and chat or whatever they do. It's because this is a unit, this is a family. So I know that this tragedy is going to affect the NFL team base, so it will affect the teams and player base. It should act as a reminder to not only the players and the fans, it should to anybody, that this can happen when your decisions can be impaired when alcohol is involved. No matter how good of a driver or how good of an athlete you are, these are the types of things that can happen. And it's going to affect Josh Brent's life, and deservedly so. This isn't his first stint with the law. He had problems coming out of Illinois, which is the reason the Cowboys were able to get him for a 7th round pick in the supplemental draft a couple years ago, which was a bargain because that kid, Josh Brent, was a very good a nose tackle, defensive tackle, whatever position you want to call it. He was a very good player, and he probably had a 2nd or 3rd round grade on him, maybe even a 1st, and cost himself money, cost himself reputation, because he had a DUI in college as well, according to, like I said, various reports, ESPN and other various sites. So Josh Brent never really learned his lesson, and maybe it's a lesson that all of us can learn from what happens when you make poor decisions. But that being said, like I said, the Bengals don't really care about that. They don't care about anything I just said. And they probably don't even care about learning lessons with some of the players that they have on their team that have been incarcerated or have dealt with problematic issues where they're getting arrested and things like that. So the one thing I know the Bengals will do is they will exploit the middle of our defense, where Josh Brent was responsible for holding down the fort, for Jay Ratliff, until Jay's groin improved. Now I'm sure Jay's going to have to get rushed back earlier. They signed Rob Calloway off the practice squad. What is that going to do? Not much. Jay Ratliff was probably a very, one of the, to be honest with you, after all the injuries you're looking at, might be one of the better players on our defense. And that's sad to say, but we've had so many injuries to some very key players on our defense. So it's a big blow. And if you thought the running game or the run defense was going to be bad, as it's been over the last few weeks, expect it not to be much better. They're going to bring in a guy whose head's going to be spinning in Rob Callaway. And he's been with the team for a while. He's been with us this year, so he kind of has an idea about some of the nuances and intricacies of our defense. But he's not the same skill set that you get with Jay Ratliff. So it's just so depressing on so many levels that this has gone on. I mean, obviously, it's a life that was lost. A young kid. Kid was born in 1987. In 1987, I was in 7th grade. Mrs. Downs' science class. You know, listening to Boogie Down Productions. And you know, that's the time era. It was when, you know, I was on my second pair of new Jordans by then. That was what we were dealing with. That's the time we were dealing with. That's when this kid was born. He's a baby. And but another depressing issue about it is Josh Brent was a 7th round supplemental draft pick because of a DUI. And it just seems like, you know, when that changes your life, he had an opportunity, Josh Brent. And it's funny because I know this isn't a real religious show, and I won't even go as far as saying I'm a real religious guy. But you know how we do when we get in trouble. God, I swear if you get me out of this one, I'll never do it again. I'll never do it again. I'll never do it again. Please give me a chance, God. Well, guess what? God gave whatever you believe, whoever you believe in, but he was given that chance, that second chance. He was rescued by the Dallas Cowboys in the supplemental draft. He wasn't eligible for he dropped out of school, whatever, how he got kicked off the school program. He wasn't eligible for the draft, so the supplemental draft was a failsafe for him. The Cowboys swooped him up, only relinquished a 7th round pick to the National Football League, and said, we got a kid who we think can be a good player. He got that second chance. God, I'll never do it again. I know he said it. We all do it. But guess what? He did it again. And I'll bet you that this isn't the first time since that, based on him driving fast, you know, and the reports are that he was driving fast and all this other stuff. I'll bet you that he's been doing this, and his characteristics, you know, dictate that this is probably how he's been, you know, what he's been doing. So he never learned his lesson, like we said, and just, you know, sometimes he's going to probably do anywhere from 2 to 20 years for some bad decisions, and that's not even going to include the years that he took away from his friend and former teammate at Illinois, as well as current teammate, you know, obviously when he was alive with the Cowboys. The other question that comes to me is, what's the curfew in you know, a Cowboy stadium? You know, what is the curfew there? What do we got going on? We got guys partying late at night, driving around drunk, liquored up. Who parties on it? I mean, are we still celebrating the Eagles' loss? Now I'm sure somebody maybe had a birthday, or you know, someone maybe they bought a house or something. I don't know what the situation is, but who's partying in these wee hours of the night? And there's got to be somebody, you know, with a check-in saying, okay, check, he's in bed, check, he's in bed, check, he's in, check. Where we slipping there? So, you know, a guy with a rap sheet like Josh Brent, you know, you'd think that guys still wouldn't have taken the leash off of him. And he'll probably never play football ever again, and deservedly so. He did it to himself on many different levels, you know. And I've been tough on the coaches. I know I have. I've been really tough on the coaches in all my casts I've been doing. And this is another thing that has happened on Jason Garrett's watch. It's like another chink in his armor, if you will. You know, that it's just something that the team this doesn't seem like it's something holding them back. And you know, there's obviously leadership missing. And you don't have to have leadership, guys screaming and barking in the middle of the field. You know, leadership can come from your head coach. It can come from your head coach, you know. But where is it at even amongst the players? I mean, who's letting this guy run around liquored up, driving a car, speeding with a team? I don't understand how this happens. I mean, but maybe they were all sleeping, and maybe that's what a leader is someone who's in by Kurt. I don't know. I don't know the answers. And guess what? We'll probably never know, the answers to this, because it is a tragic event, and I'm sure the Cowboys are going to want to sweep this under the rug and try to focus on future games. But I don't know with this team, man. I mean, as Cowboy fans, we must say to ourselves, and I promised you my video is going to be short. It is going to be short. But this team has never shown the ability to mindful, like to show. This team has never shown the ability to have a strong psyche, a mental psyche. They've never been strong enough where we've been able to overcome things mentally when it's time to gut it out. Not fighting. I'm talking about mentally. When this team went to vacation in 2007, Wade Phillips gave the team a week off and they went to Cabo or whatever. There's something that you have to be mentally strong about when you come back from vacation, even when you come back to work. You've been on vacation for a week, something in your mind says, okay, now it's time for me to get to work. I'm not in vacation land anymore. I got to get this work done. So you got to get back to your grind. And there's a mental transition that has to happen for that to happen, or you're going to do pretty crummy work on your at your place of employment, no matter what you're doing. This team's, at best, their mental psyche has been fragile. And so that being said, this event that's happened, this tragic event, I can't expect this team to overcome that. I mean, I was worried about this game prior to this incident. Now I'm shaking in my boots now, no pun intended, because this team, once again, I can't expect them to overcome a teammate's death and the murder, one player murdering another player, however you want to look at it, a vehicular manslaughter, all kinds of crazy, phrases that whatever this guy gets charged with. But, this didn't help the situation of this team. And it's another thing that could cost them a victory. And if the Cowboys want to prove anything to me or anyone, and I know they don't care about me, I understand that. I'm not one of these guys that thinks that they're talking to me like I'm talking about them. But if they want to prove anything to me mentally, they got to be strong enough to overcome this between the lines on Sunday. And that will speak volumes about this Cowboy team if they can go out and beat the Cincinnati Bengals Sunday, 1 o'clock. If they can go out there and beat them and overcome everything that's going on. Because one thing will be evident. Josh Brent ain't going to be in the middle of that defense. So he's not going to be there. There's going to be a missing tooth there. It's going to look like a missing tooth because his presence is a solid presence. And I'm sure the game plan consisted of coaching. Because think about the way that you think that the Cincinnati Bengals are going to attack us. How are they going to attack us? They're going to run the football. Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis. They're going to run the football. They also call them the law firm. So they're going to just keep running them. I would expect that. We have shown that we're not good against the run. So I would expect them to run against us, the ball. And Josh Brent, I'm assuming our defensive coordinator, Rob Ryan and company, Matt Eberflus and Matt Baker and all these other guys that are the defensive line coach, all these guys that are a part of this defensive staff, they got to be saying to themselves, I don't want to leave out Jerome Henderson because he's a good secondary coach, but they got to be saying to themselves, Josh Brent, it starts with you. That had to be the theme all week if I'm on defense. It's not the corners because they're going to only throw the ball. AJ Green's only going to get 8 or 9 receptions. That's 8 or 9 receptions. He might get 15 targets. Maybe. They're going to pound that football, though. That could be 30 plays. And Josh Brent had to be the focal point of that. Had to be. So that means on the fly, rip everything up, throw it out, get Rob Calloway in, and, I don't know. I don't know. So we just hope to see on Sunday this Cowboy team, 1 o'clock, dig down deep. We know the fight will be there, but will they be mentally able to overcome? And listen, we've seen this team without any tragedies or any kind of situations that would deter them from playing football, and they've been making terrible mistakes with no excuses. Oh, I thought you was going to run the post. Oh, no, you was supposed to. No, when this is the type of things you see Tony Romo and Des Bryant doing. And that's with an even, calm mind. What's it going to be like when tomorrow you're thinking about Josh Brent not being there and a player that you might have saw in the hallways? And I know this is a practice squad player, but like I said, it's still a life. It's a life. A life was taken off the Dallas Cowboys team. We'll see how they respond at 1 o'clock. We will see Sunday. Once again, prayers go out to the families, all the families involved, all the players, But once again, as quick as I said that, we got a football game Sunday. I'm your host, Uncle Bootz. Once again, I'm going to try to get this video to you as soon as I can. And hopefully this will give you fans some hope, give us fans some hope. I'll see you guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate every single minute, second of you listening. And if you like it, please click like on it. Subscribe. If you have a YouTube account, subscribe to mine. Just click plus and it'll subscribe. I'll subscribe to you as well. Thanks for listening, guys. Go Cowboys.